What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for August 29th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the podcast. For some of us, it's a feel-good Thursday as nobody has work tomorrow. It is the last little extended long weekend of summer. It is winding down. Kids go back to school on Tuesday. Some went back this week. Some are even going back today, I think, which is odd. I don't know if they're going back tomorrow. But either way, it's a feel-good Thursday. Couple quick housekeeping notes before we get into today's episode. Check out my boys over the Clashing Conferences podcast. I had a chance to sit down with the baseball crew yesterday. Had a lot of fun. That episode is dropping on Friday. And if you're not familiar with them, they started off last year with a football podcast. And basically, it's what we all do when we're sitting around on the golf course, at the bar, watching games, at a barbecue, whatever, and just talking about our teams. And what makes this one special is everybody has a different allegiance and the trash talking flows. So it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I had a chance to be on the baseball episode yesterday. They started, though, with football, and the OGs, as they're calling them, are back. That new episode for the beginning of football season dropped this morning, so be sure to go check them out and support them. Good friends of the show. They're doing great things over there, so that is available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube, but go give them a listen. I promise you'll like it, especially because most of us do this same banter that they have anyway all the time, whether it's through text messaging, in person, whatever, but they're doing good things over there. And I will be on the baseball episode this week that drops tomorrow. So go check them out. Give them a listen. Good guys over there, like I said, and they're doing some good things. Yesterday, I mentioned our second anniversary is creeping up. September 8th. Hard to believe we've been doing this for 2 years already. I haven't missed a day. I've missed way more time in my day job than I have here. But that's because it's a lot of fun. And I get excited every day to bring you this day in Philly sports history. So to celebrate you, our loyal listeners, I am running a very special promotion, I guess you could call it. As you know, if you're a loyal listener, we do a lot of work with Philly Goat. Good guys over there, Ryan and his crew. Want to make sure, if you haven't done so already, you get a chance to join in the fun. So we are giving away a free Philly Goat t-shirt of your choice. All you have to do is interact via voicemail or text message with the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531 and be a subscriber to the YouTube channel starting Sunday. So do yourself a favor, go subscribe to the YouTube channel now, and then starting Sunday, leave a voicemail, leave a text message on the Back to the Future voice and text line, and you will be entered into a drawing for a free Philly Goat t-shirt of your choice. Free Philly Goat. That's very hard to say. But I'm very excited to do this and celebrate our second anniversary next week. We're going to have a lot of fun with the number two picks, number two, game twos in playoff series, guys that wore number two, assistant coaches, all kinds of fun with number two. So that starts on Sunday. But in order to get the free Philly Goat shirt, be a subscriber to the YouTube channel. Just do it now so it's done and over with. You don't have to worry about it. And then interact with the Back to the Future voice and text line beginning Sunday, running through our anniversary date, which is September 8th, and you'll be entered into the drawing for a free Philly Goat shirt. Excited to be able to offer that to you guys, and I thank you for almost 2 strong years of loyal support. Had a lot of fun, and I got a lot of big things on the horizon for year 3, so stay tuned. You can also follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you got to do. Let's start growing this thing and spread the word. We've grown so much in 2 years, and I don't even think we're close to what the potential of this is. So thank you. Spread the word, and here's to year number 3. All right, so let's, I guess, bring it down a bit and talk about that Phillies game yesterday. And so much to dive into. I think let's start with the obvious. I pray that Taijuan Walker has pitched his last game with the Phillies. And I mean, it's just, it's one thing to when Nola's off or Wheeler's off or even Ranger or Christopher Sanchez, they're off, but it's a different kind of off. The Astros yesterday were hammering Taijuan Walker, and it just was like they were hitting him hard. Like those were like it wasn't oh well fluky and this and that. They were pounding him, and to hear him say because he had a couple of weak ground balls, he thought he pitched well and it's starting to turn. Or he didn't say pitch well. He said it's starting to turn around, dude. Are you watching what we're watching? I mean, that's 9 straight losses now that they've had when Taijuan Walker pitches, which right now you have a 5-game lead. So you can do the math. That's not good. I mean, think about how many games this team could be up if Taijuan Walker was just average. So I hope that they do the right thing. I don't know if this is Rob Thompson being stubborn, Dave Dombrowski saying we owe this dude a buttload of money, keep him in there. I don't want to see it. The way it's playing out, so the next time he would be scheduled to start would be Monday. Phillies are off on Monday. So likely they'll skip his start and buy them a couple extra days to figure it out, because by that time then you can call up a couple extra guys and after the September 1st deadline. But it's just, this dude is absolutely terrible. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Terrible. And he was booed mercifully, or I don't even know, endlessly booed. And he should have been. Like, it was just terrible. On the flip side, though, what is up with the team behind him? And I kind of, it's almost like Doc Rivers. We used to talk about this all the time with him, the scheduled loss, as he called it. It's like this was a scheduled loss. There was absolutely zero effort, zero focus, zero, I don't want to say heart, because there wasn't even an opportunity to show any heart. They just mailed it in. I don't know, because the temperature, the heat index was over 100, if that played a role. But you got 3 hits. This dude that pitched for the Astros is okay, but his ERA was almost 5. And you get 3 hits. You're no hit through the first 7 innings. I don't know, like, I've heard some people saying that maybe the team is trying to send a message to management, like, get Taijuan Walker out of here, he's terrible. Maybe they just in their minds were like, hey, whatever, let's focus and worry about the Braves game or the Braves series. But I mean, even Rob Thompson, I mean, he brought in Mercado, who was terrible, and then Weston Wilson was pitching. I mean, so he's obviously not invested in it. I worry about this because this team has shown they don't have the ability to just flip a switch. So kind of mailing it in and taking a day off, I worry now for this Brave series that they're going to come out flat tonight, and then all of a sudden your lead's down to 4 games and you're pressing a little bit. And we've seen with them, when they press, they're not good. So I don't know what to make of it. It just was lackluster all around. And if you had to go down there and sit in that heat, I feel bad for you, because that was not a good game to go to, especially if you plan your whole day around it. You tailgated all day in the heat, got in there with no shade and sat in the heat, and then all of a sudden, I mean, I was watching it. It was 3-0. Had to take my daughter to soccer practice. By the time I got back out to my truck and turned it on, it was 6-0. Like, it's, I don't know. They mailed it in, and I pray, and this is why I wasn't ready to say they're back, because you kind of saw the writing on the wall that this was going to happen. So let's see how they come out tonight against the Braves. Big 4-game series. I mean, this 4-game series here, this is not even hyperbole. Like I said, that this 13-game stretch was going to make or break the season. Right now, they're 5-4. They need to go at least 2-2 in this series to maintain that 5-game lead. Anything less, and I think we're close to panic mode. And I wish it wasn't like that. I wish it wasn't like, oh, typical Philly fan, sky is falling. But this team has not shown me over the past 2 months that they can sustain any type of consistency over a bigger stretch of games. Now, they can come out and take 3 of 4. Prove me wrong. If they come out and take 3 or 4, I would be willing to say they're back. But I just don't know. I mean, the Braves won, so the lead is down to 5. The Brewers won, so the lead there is down to 2. Dodgers won, so they're a game back of the Dodgers for the top seed. I don't know. I don't know. And it all starts with Taijuan Walker. It's just, and this club is very big on vibes and locker room. I don't know if they just were like, I hate this dude and didn't want to play for. There's just, I don't know what to make of it, but we need to move on. We need to put it aside. Go back to if you believe it, you can achieve it. We got a huge 4-game series the next 4 days. Good Labor Day, must-watch baseball. And like I said, minimum, you need to split. If they take 3 out of 4, I think I'm willing to say they're back. But we shall see. But I don't know. All right, so let's try to pick it up a little bit. The Eagles started signing players to their practice squad. I was concerned, or still am concerned, at backup tight end. They did bring back Jack Stoll. E.J. Jenkins is also on the practice squad, so they have a little bit of flexibility now with that. Still a little concerned, though, about there is no backup center legitimately on the roster. So if Cam Jurgens goes down, we could be in trouble. They did bring back Dylan McMahon for on the practice squad, so we'll see. But I just don't. I'm not confident, and we're going to go a little bit out of order today because it ties in perfectly with the whole offensive line. But 20 questions in 20 days about the Eagles, and we are talking about our final position today, and that is the offensive line. Yesterday, I asked you, will Vic Fangio make the defense better? 90% of you said yes, and it's hard to argue that only because it's hard, and I hesitate sometimes to say that, but it's hard to be worse than what they were last year. So, I mean, the defense has to be better. But today, our final look at a position, the offensive line. And typically, historically, going back to the Andy Reid days, this has been a strength of this team. I'm not so sure. This is, to me, the biggest question mark of this team. And right guard is a huge question mark. You got Mekhi Becton, who's a tackle, switching positions, and has been banged up and injured in preseason. Tyler Steen, who was supposed to be that guy, can't seem to stay healthy. Excuse me. And even when he is, he's just not getting it. I mentioned the no backup center. That's concerning to me. And the fact that Cam Jurgens is in his first year as the center. Yes, he trained under Jason Kelsey, who is a Hall of Famer and a legend. But that, I mean, great. But I got to see it on the field. Now, he could be. I'm not blowing off Cam Jurgens and saying he's not going to be good. It's just a question mark. And, I mean, you got Lane, Jordan, and Landon, who are kind of the mainstays, and they're solid. But all three of them are kind of known to sometimes, especially Lane, get banged up and miss a game or two. And there's a lot of, I don't want to say there's not a lot of depth, because there is a ton of depth at offensive line. I just don't know how quality is. And if more than one of those guys gets knocked out of and misses extended time, I worry about it. I mean, they're unproven. And you can say in Stoutland we trust, and Jeff Stoutland has the track record of being the offensive line whisperer, if you want to call it that. But it could get dicey. And, I mean, this kind of falls on Howie. And if you look at last year, one of the issues, and Jason Kelsey admitted that he kind of lost a step and made some mistakes, but picking up the blitz was how teams beat Jalen Hurts and the Eagles last year. And even in training camp, when the defense blitzed, that's when they seemed to struggle. And next week in Brazil, they're going to see a ton of blitzing from the Packers. I mean, and if the Packers don't blitz Jalen Hurts, I don't know why they wouldn't. Until this offensive line and Jalen Hurts prove that they can beat the blitz, somewhat regularly, I mean, teams are going to blitz them at a higher rate. So it's going to come down to this offensive line. And again, it could be fine. There's just a lot of question marks. And for the first time, like I said, in a long time, I'm concerned about the offensive line. And I mean, you can say what you want again about, oh, well, last year was last year. There's the same coach and most of the same offensive line is there. Stoutland couldn't figure it out last year. I mean, there's a reason why Jalen Hurts had to call Wink Martindale to get some advice on what they were doing and what they were seeing. And I mean, part of it is on Jalen, but at the same time, the offensive line was not protecting him. So I don't know. It's a huge question mark. And to me, defense, health, everything. This is the biggest question on this team. And if this doesn't get figured out and this is an issue to start this year, we could have some problems this year. I mean, I'm very high on the Eagles this year, but this offensive line, they need to prove it. And hopefully they will. I have confidence in the guys that are there. But the other piece of that is Jason Kelce was such a strong presence and a voice and a vocal leader. We need somebody to step up and do that. So heading into this year, I have some questions about the offensive line. We'll see what happens. Maybe it's just me. So that's our question of the day today. Are you concerned about the offensive line heading into the season? And I'm talking the offensive line as a whole. You might not necessarily be concerned with the starters, but God forbid one of those guys goes down. I think we could be in trouble. Let me know your thoughts. 267-495-8531. That's a Back to the Future voice and text line. Are you concerned with the Eagles' offensive line? Do you want to vent about Taijuan Walker and the Phillies? It's all fair game. 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. I'm concerned about it. And again, maybe I'm overreacting to it and there's bigger concerns on this team, but everybody's expecting big things out of the offense, but if you don't have time to do anything, we'll see. And I do think a lot of onus is going to be put on Kellen Moore to try to run the ball with Saquon to keep the defense honest as well. So we'll see what happens, but let me know your thoughts. 267-495-8531. That's how you get in. Are you concerned with the offensive line this year for the Eagles? And that is our final position question, or I'll get it out. Our final question about a position in our 20 questions in 20 days. Tomorrow and Saturday, we'll start doing some of our season predictions and things like that. Union lost last night 1-0 against Columbus. Strong fight, but just could not make it happen. So they look to rebound as now they have 8 games left to try to get themselves into a playoff position. All right, finally today. Went way out of order, but that's okay because it's a feel-good Thursday. It is a holiday weekend. Football is right around the corner, so we can go out of order every now and then. But today we're going to hop in our way, way, way back machine and go back to 1885. And the Quakers, as the Phillies were originally known, beat the Providence Grays 1-0 at Recreation Park in Philly. That was down around 24th, 25th, and Cecil B. Moore. The Providence Grays, no longer our team. They folded later that season. But the Phillies won this game 1-0. They scored their only run on a throwing error in the bottom of the 9th inning to win it. On the mound that day for the Phillies was Charlie Ferguson, who tossed a no-hitter, the first no-hitter in Phillies history. He had 8 strikeouts and only allowed 5 balls to be hit into the outfield. So it was relatively an easy day at the office for Charlie. I will mention, though, this still counts as a Phillies no-hitter, but the rules were different. And we mentioned this a couple times that a lot of records and things like that go from post-1903. Because the rules were not very uniform and they were much different than what we see today. Back in 1885, the mound was flat. It was 50 feet away from the plate instead of the, what is it now? I think it's 54 something. It's a weird thing, but it was only 50 feet away. You had 7 balls for a walk. And this was, I thought, interesting. The batters could actually request where the pitcher wanted to hit it, kind of like a home run derby style. So I don't know if that was sort of the norm, like, hey, throw me high and outside, and that's where the pitcher tried to throw it, or it was just a suggestion. But I just thought that was interesting. And if it was something that you're throwing the ball where the batters wanted it, that makes this no-hitter kind of impressive, though. It's sort of like a no-hitter in a wiffle ball game. But the game has changed a lot. The Phillies have now 13 more no-hitters added to Charlie's. But back in 1885, Charlie Ferguson became the first Philly to throw a no-hitter when the Phillies beat the Providence Grays 1-0 at Recreation Park on a throwing error in the ninth inning. The game sure has changed a lot. However, I will say that, Taijuan Walker probably would have fit in perfect because I feel like he was throwing the balls exactly where the Astros wanted him yesterday. So Taijuan, maybe you're just playing in the wrong era. But that 1885 Phillies team was a big one in Phillies history. They finished 56-54. It was the first time in team history they finished the season over 500. Thanks in small part to Charlie Ferguson. But like I said, maybe, just maybe, Taijuan Walker is playing in the wrong era and should have been playing back in the 1880s where it was encouraged to throw the ball where the players wanted it, not just, hey, let me throw the ball where you want it. But in 1885, Charlie Ferguson, first ever no-hitter in Phillies history, at Recreation Park against the Providence Grays, a team that does not even exist anymore. Be sure to get your vote in for the question of the day. Are you concerned with the offensive line? Let me know your thoughts on that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you're eligible for the free Philly Goat t-shirt. Be sure to check them out and go do some back-to-school shopping as well. They have some great stuff there. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. But be sure to go check them out so you're well aware of what you could win if you are interacting with the Back to the Future voice and text line starting Sunday. And that number again is 267-495-8531. Huge series coming up against the Braves. I'm hoping that the Phillies can snap out of yesterday and they just sort of had the quote-unquote scheduled loss that Doc Rivers used to like to talk about. I just hope that they can get out of it because they haven't really shown me much that they can turn the switch on. So if there's ever a time for them to step up and just explode, today would be the day to do it. 5-game lead. This could end poorly if it doesn't go well. They could start putting that nail in the coffin, though, if it does go well. So we'll be watching that tonight. We'll have more on that tomorrow. Still going to be a little bit hot, but not quite as bad as yesterday. So go enjoy your Thursday. Be safe out there. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 29th, 2024. My name is Jim Montgomery. And until next time, I will see you when I see you.